I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for all that you do for us. Just guide us and lead us tonight as we do our work today. Just lead us and guide us to the right decisions. Watch over our city, be with our citizens, and we just thank you for all that you do for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I'd like to call this evening's meeting of the Jackson City Council to order. We'll begin roll call. Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Here.
Colby.
Here.
Peters. Newkirk. Crabtree. Pop.
Here. I'd like to have a motion to excuse Mr. Peters this evening.
Second.
Mr. Elliott, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yes, that's all.
I got it.
Next on the agenda is recognitions. Mayor Evans.
None tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Each of you should have had a packet that had the minutes in it. Any corrections, objections to the minutes as presented to council? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Ms. Colby, is there a second? Mr. Newkirk? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. We'll begin our committee reports. Utility, Mr. Newkirk? No report. Thank you, Mr. Newkirk. Budget and Finance, Ms. Colby?
No report.
Thank you, Ms. Colby. Police, Fire, and Traffic, Mr. Foster?
I would, the chief's not here, I would like to have went over something, but we'll catch it 2 weeks.
All right. Make a note. And Mr. Peters is not with us this evening, so no report from the Service Committee. Auditor's report, Mr. Reed?
No report.
Mr. Reed? Mr. Kirby?
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby. Mayor Evans?
At the last meeting, I kind of hit it around about big news coming for Jackson, but I really wasn't at liberty to tell you what, but I'm sure you've all heard about it and read about it in the papers now about her food announcement of putting in production lines there at the old Goodyear or Meridian site in Jackson. So that's great news for us. Expect to make a big investment in the city of Jackson there, provide many jobs. There's legislation tonight regarding that we'll talk about later when we get to that on the agenda. Most of you are also probably aware that paving has started in Jackson since our last meeting. The area of the Mill Street projects over there has, I think it's already done. There may be some detailing left and some berming, but we've already repaved them streets over there that were tore up by the new water lines and new sewer lines. I'd have to stop and do the math, but we've made a huge investment in that neighborhood in the last few years. New water lines, new sewer lines, new fire hydrants, and now new paving. It's a completely different neighborhood over there now, and I certainly thank you all for it, and I hope the citizens over there appreciate it. The South Street water line project continues. The west part of that, they have kind of repaired and quieted down the natives a little bit in there. It is a very messy construction site. At least the early part of it, from about Portsmouth Street west, the lines have been repaired and repaved in, and it's a lot better now. But on the east end, it's pretty much like a war zone there as far as driving through. But it'll get repaired too as soon as possible. There's a sewer lining part that was also part of that huge, over $2.5 million EDA grant that we got, and they have started it. It's out in the Chillicothe Street to Veterans Drive. It's a sewer line, it's off the road. Most people don't even know it's there, but lining that old sewer line is part of this project, and it has now begun to. You won't even know it, but it's being done too. It was about a $250,000 project in itself. The Clinton Taft sewer project, we finally awarded to Jackson Brothers. Is that in the agenda tonight, or we already done that? I can't remember. I think that's in for tonight.
This is the county commissioner's CBD.
Oh, that's right, yeah. It was awarded to Jackson Brothers Construction, which is actually a local contractor in Ralston. That was a CDGB grant, which is actually administered by the county commissioners. That's why it didn't come to you guys. But it's still a city project, and we were involved in trying to get it. Also, we received the bids on the Apple Tower repainting, and have selected a contractor for it. And we'll be awarding it to Eagle Eye Industrial Services. So, yet this summer, the Apple Tower will be repainted. We're debating between green and yellow, so we'd like some input from council, get away from that red. I think everybody can tell I'm joking. So yeah, we'll be painting it back a bright red like it was. And just wanted to see if anybody was listening. If anybody was listening, congratulations, you guys are paying attention tonight. Yeah, all right. We have received another grant. I like to announce one about every meeting, it seems like, but, and it's in your packet, Resolution 2724. Before council tonight, we'll be talking about a $500,000 grant to replace lights in the city with LED lights. So we're excited about that. Couple last things here. Want to mention Independent Stave Company. That's not Speyside, right? Correct. Independent Stave Company, it's the old, what did it used to be called?
Bluegrass Creek.
Bluegrass, up toward Berlin Crossroads.
Yeah.
They had previously made us a donation we used to buy some playground equipment. They liked what we did, and we just received another check for $5,000 from them. And that money, if you've been out to Hammertown Lake recently, you see the new swing set there by the shelter house overlooking the lake. That money was spent on that improvements out there, which is a real nice improvement. Also, last week or so, we had the ribbon cutting for the ramp and the kayak launch out there. Had a huge turnout for that. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for helping organize that. We're always looking for grants and ways to improve our parks. That's all I have for tonight, Dan.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Any questions for the mayor? Mr. Swackhammer.
Yeah, I got a few items. One, a continuation from last meeting. There's been a lot of conversations around the recent tornadoes in the area. I was in a meeting last week with a gentleman from the National Weather Service out of Charleston, a county EMA meeting, and he kind of actually brought more light to it than we realized. Based upon the way the radars are set up, coming out Charleston, coming out Wilmington, they're almost 5,000 foot above us when they're above Jackson or this part of the area. His verbiage to us was that they would never pick up an F1 or an F2. I mean, you're going to have to get something that's tall enough that their radar would pick up. And they're offering a partnerships for creating and maintaining spotter groups to try to help improve in this area. And it's not just Jackson, it's, Pike, Lawrence, part of Gallia and Sarda as well. So this was their recommendation is some of these spotter groups that are going to give some free training on. There just isn't any coordination to the National Weather Service. So the best that they're offering right now is being able to train as many individuals as possible. But that doesn't give us much prerequisite for knowing when to tone something out if we had the signals to do so. So I did want to bring that back to council as a conversation. Also, I handed out some information around the brick that we had talked about last time. We took the 3 streets that still remain to be brick, their dimensions. In yellow there, you'll see a brick cost Athens and a brick cost Gary. I had a very nice conversation with the service director from Athens. His costs are based upon basically building new streets, new brick, new everything. Gary's cost is his best calculations for taking what's existing, taking them up, relaying them, rebuilding the base. You can see one's about double the other in some cases. But then if you look at the rest of it, the mill cost, tonnage, asphalt cost, and then the mill and asphalt cost for those 3 streets also, you can see the delta between trying to maintain the brick and the asphalt. So that was some of the costs that we were asked to get coming out of the last meeting that I'm sharing back with you now. Also, if you drive around town, you're going to see some bright red fire hydrants and some bright yellow curbs. The city has started doing repainting the curbs, starting from the downtown area, working out. I say that for a couple reasons. One, to let you know what we're doing, but 2, that we'll start to be enforcing that as well. Parking too close to the hydrants, parking within the yellow, the yellow striped areas. Those are there based upon what the police gave us for the setbacks and for alleys, streets, driveways, fire hydrants. So we're trying to follow everything there, get them repainted. City pool got off to a great start, had some record numbers, even though the temperatures were cool. Attendance has been up over last year, and I just want to thank everyone that's been involved with that, from our lifeguards to our water and distribution groups, street and alley groups that helped with some of the projects up there prior to the opening. It looks great. We've got a lot of positive feedback. A couple of the other small grants that we've picked up. We did get a drinking water distribution equipment grant for $10,000. This was from the Ohio EPA, and we plan to purchase some leak detection equipment to help us identify water leaks. A lot of the old water lines, of course, had no trace elements in it for us to be able to identify. So this is just some additional equipment there that's going to be covered by the grant. Also, the city had applied in conjunction with Jackson City Schools for an OVRDC grant for, it's called School Travel Plan. And the reason we partnered with the school to go after this is it is a prerequisite for a lot of other grants that we go after. And this helps us score a whole lot better. So any of the biking and walking routes to 2 schools is what we were allowed to do. The 2 schools that we chose were the middle school and Northview. We didn't include the high school for a couple reasons. One, if you can get to the middle school, you know how to get to the high school. And we got sidewalks and everything there. Plus a large percentage of our students at the high school drive. Middle school, we don't, and Northview is our only other walkable elementary school. So those were the 2 we chose. And so Carpenter Marty Transportation is the consultant that's working with us. This will have a lot of involvement, not only from our local law enforcement, the schools, bus transportation personnel. There'll be information going home to parents for parent participation that have students that bike or walk to these schools. So if you see individuals out or canvassing the areas around these two schools. That's what that'll be associated with. That's all I have at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Schweikhammer. Questions for the service director?
I just had a quick one on the brick. I'm just wondering, is there an option C there where instead of pulling all the brick up, are we able to just spot fix the areas that are bad, keeping most of what's already down that's decent?
It depends on everybody's opinion of decent. I mean, most of them roll pretty good already, even if they're solid. So if you're going to take them up, fix the infrastructure under them, so that when you put them back down, you hopefully don't touch them for many years. To me, if not, could they be spot fixed? You can. We've started saving the brick that we take up in projects to have some extra brick. It's just a starting spot on what the cost is.
Thanks.
Other questions for the service director? Hearing none, we'll move on into our ordinances and resolutions portion of our meeting. We begin third reading, ordinance 2424. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance authorizing an income tax at the rate of 1.5% for the purposes of street and sidewalk repairs and/or other city infrastructure, the demolition of unsafe buildings and general operations and services of the city, including funding the operations of the police department and fire department for a continuing period commencing January 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
Discussion. Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk. Crabtree.
Yes.
Pop.
Ordinance 2424 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, third reading, ordinance 2524. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance calling for the placement on the ballot of the next general election in the city of Jackson, Ohio, the issue of enacting an income tax at the rate of 1.5% for the purposes of street and sidewalk repairs and/or replacement, and for maintenance or construction of other city infrastructure, the demolition of unsafe buildings and general operations and services of the city, including funding the operations of the police department and fire department for a continuing period commencing January 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
Discussion. Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott. Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk. Crabtree.
Yes.
Pop.
Ordinance 2524 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, ordinance 3224. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance approving additional appropriations in the Mill Street Water Project Fund and declaring an emergency.
Can I get a motion to adopt ordinance 3224 as presented to council? Mr. Newkirk, second by Mr. Bob. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discussion. Mr. Schweikman.
Yes, the Mill Street project that we've talked about many times over the past several months, the work has actually came in below the grant funding that we got. So what we would want to do here is take the additional money that we have from the grant and extend it back toward Chillicothe Street. We didn't think we'd have enough to go there originally. Looks like we do. This is the money we have to do that. I'd like for council to consider letting us move forward with that, if they would tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Schweikhammer. Other discussion? Mr. Bob?
Move to suspend the rules.
Motion by Mr. Bob to suspend the rules, second by Mrs. Colby. Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk. Crabtree. Pop.
Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk. Crabtree. Pop.
Ordinance 3224 is duly adopted. Next, council consideration, first reading, ordinance 3334. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance of the legislative authority of the City of Jackson, Ohio to authorize the mayor to execute an enterprise zone agreement with Her Foods Incorporated and declaring an emergency.
Could I get a motion to adopt ordinance 3224 as presented to council? Mr. Elliott, is there a second? Mr. Bob? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion. Mayor Evans.
This is the property tax abatement for the HERS expansion in Jackson. The Jackson County Tax Incentive Review Council or Committee, which consists of both the county auditor, the city auditor, commissioners, the superintendent of both Jackson City Schools and the Buckeye Hills Career Center, have already met and already approved or recommended this abatement being given. That's one point I wanted to make. Also, this does not relieve or decrease any of their current property taxes due. This is abating only the new investment that they put into the plant site for 10 years, and it's only at a 60%. Oftentimes you see these at 75 to 100%. So they didn't ask for anything out of the ordinary. As part of that Turk committee, I also recommend approval of this. The commissioners also have to approve this. They're hopeful that they can approve it on Wednesday when they meet this week. So I'd like the council to consider passing this one first reading also. It's been in the works for a long time. We just couldn't do it until they made their announcement.
Thank you, Mayor Evans. Other discussion? Mr. Bob?
I make a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion by Mr. Bopp, is there a second? Mr. Elliott, second. Discussion?
Mr. President, I just wanted to say that property tax in this case would be every piece of machinery in the place that makes money. So I just want to clarify that versus real estate tax. So
Thank you, Mr. Elliott.
it's very important to industry to have this advantage.
Other discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Discussion. Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Ordinance 3324 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, ordinance 3424. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance to revise the codified ordinances by adopting current replacement pages thereto and declaring an emergency.
Could I get a motion to adopt ordinance 3424 as presented to council? Mr. Newkirk, is there a second? Mr. Crabtree, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion. Ms. Kuhn?
These are just the first quarter of 2024 state changes that we need to adopt to codified ordinances.
Thank you, Ms. Kuhn. Other discussion?
Be compliant. I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Thank you, Mr. Crabtree. Is there a second? Mr. Newkirk? Discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Further discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk. Crabtree. Bach.
Yes.
Ordinance 3424 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, ordinance 3524. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance approving additional appropriations in the fire tax levy fund and declaring an emergency.
Could I have a motion to adopt ordinance 3524 as presented to council? Mr. Elliott, is there a second? Mr. Crabtree, seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion. Mr. Swackhammer.
Yeah, it's not often I come back and ask for money that we didn't originally budget for, and I'm happy about it, but this one I am. This one is directly related to the fire department and rebuilding the fire department. As you'll remember, it wasn't just a couple of years ago, we were down to 6 individuals, and I'm happy to say that as of this week, We now have 20 firefighters and also about 6 to 7 active cadets. And so this additional funds will help us with their training, with equipment, and so forth. So I'm happy to bring this one back. This puts the city in a much better light, and the chief and the firefighters have done an excellent job of recruiting and rebuilding, and I thank them for it.
Thank you, Mr. Schweikhammer. Other discussion? Mr. Newkirk, is there a second? Ms. Colby, seconds, discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk. Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Further discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bach.
Yes.
Ordinance 3524 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, ordinance 3624. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance of the legislative authority of the city of Jackson, Ohio, directing the Director of Safety and Service to purchase a 2024 Dodge Ram 5500 diesel chassis with VST 47 aerial package from Utility Truck Equipment Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $255,448 and declaring an emergency.
Could I have a motion to adopt ordinance 3624 as presented to council?
Motion to adopt.
Mr. Foster, yes. Mr. Elliott, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discussion. Mr. Schweikhammer.
Yes, this is actually already in the electric budget under equipment that we passed for this year. It is about a 2-year lead time. This is for a new bucket truck for the electric department. It'll be replacing the one that we currently have there. So this allows us, we went out, did some shopping, make sure it had what we were looking for, and it's taken us that long to bring this to you. We're ready to pull the trigger now and actually get on that waiting list.
Thank you, Mr. Schweikhammer. Discussion? Secretary?
Just a couple questions. Did we get, not just one question, but did we get any other quotes that were similar? Or
This is state bid pricing.
was there other?
Yeah, I mean, that's the lowest you're going to get once you get state bid pricing.
And the old truck, is there anything we might be able to do with it to recover?
We will reevaluate its condition in a couple years when we get the new one in to see what use it. I hate to project what 2 years from now might look like.
Gotcha.
Other discussion? Any further action to be taken on ordinance 3624? Mr. Bob?
Make a motion to suspend rules.
Motion by Mr. Bob to suspend rules, second by Mr. Foster. Discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Further discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott. Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Ordinance 3624 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, we will move into our resolutions portion. Resolutions on first reading. First is Resolution 2224. Second reading, I'm sorry. Yes, second reading. For second reading, Resolution 2224. Ms. Kuhn?
A resolution authorizing the Service Safety Director of the City of Jackson to adopt and use the pole attachment agreement template negotiated by AMP Ohio and declaring an emergency.
Discussion. Hearing none, this constitutes the second reading of Resolution 2224. Next, for council consideration, Resolution 2524, first reading. Ms. Kuhn?
A resolution of the Legislative Authority of the City of Jackson, Ohio to accept the bid of Eagle Eye Construction LLC in the amount of $110,500 for the Apple Water Tank Recoding Project, as it was the lowest and best responsive bid submitted, and declaring an emergency.
Could I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2524? Mr. Bott, is there a second? Mr. Elliott, second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion, Mayor Evans.
That one's pretty self-explanatory, just hiring a contractor to repaint that top.
Other discussion?
It'll be painted red.
Red, bright red.
Other discussion?
We would like to get them started. If there's no objection, we could maybe pass out on first reading too.
Mr. Newkirk? Motion by Mr. Newkirk, second by Mrs. Colby. Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bott.
Yes.
Further discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bott.
Yes.
Resolution 2524 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, Resolution 2624. Ms. Coon?
A resolution authorizing the City Service Safety Director to enter into agreements with the Ohio Department of Development and the Appalachian Regional Commission on behalf of the City of Jackson for the acceptance of and administration of the grant for the Main Street Sewer Project and declaring an emergency.
Could I get a motion to adopt Resolution 2624 as presented to council? Mr. Elliott, is there a second? Mr. Newkirk? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion, Mayor Evans.
Accepting another grant, this one from the ARC and the DOD to repair and replace and reline part of a Main Street sewer that we've been referring to as Restaurant Row. It's a problematic area behind some of the restaurants there on East Main Street. David, what was the amount of the grant, you remember?
I
Grant we
don't-
got for that?
I don't
I don't
have
remember the amount on that one, but this is a resolution just allowing us to accept that grant, so we can do that project.
Thank you, Mayor. Further discussion?
Being a grant, I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Mr. Crabtree? Second by Mr. Elliott. Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bott.
Further discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bott.
Yes.
Resolution 2624 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, Resolution 2724, first reading. Ms. Coon?
A resolution authorizing the City Service Safety Director to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Development on behalf of the City of Jackson for the acceptance of and administration of the grant for the Energy Efficient Conservation Block Grant, Brightening Ohio Communities Program, and declaring an emergency.
Could I get a motion to adopt Resolution 2724 as presented to council? Mr. Bob, second by Mr. Newkirk. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion, Mayor Evans.
Just accepting another grant, this one for $500,000. That I mentioned in my report, to replace city streetlights with LED lights. I just want to point out to where not only we accept it, but we also allow us to administer it. A lot of cities receive grant entities, when they receive grants like this, they hire out someone to administer it. But we save that money by doing it in-house because we feel like with Mr. Swackhammer and Tracy Plants that we have the ability to do that. And we're doing that more and more to where our dollars go even farther and justify paying their salaries.
If I could, Dan, also, if anyone wants to take a look at the targeted areas that was part of this, they had to be an LMI area to qualify. So we have it laid out here. If somebody wants to take a look at these, I'll leave it on my desk.
That was an LMI.
Low to moderate income areas is where the grant was for. But that's, we've got substantial areas of our city that qualify and we'll get new lighting up at no cost to the city.
Great. Other discussion?
Sounds like there's no price match on this, is there? It's just all
Is there, David?
this grant?
No, there's not.
No, in fact, we hope to be able to do some of the work ourselves to maybe make a little money on it. The installation of these lights. We're still not sure whether they'll let us or not, but we hope to. We like to cut every corner we can there. Save dollars, make money, all that stuff.
Or we can reinvest it in, if it can't do that, we'll reinvest it in additional lighting.
Motion by Mr. Elliott to
Suspend the rules.
suspend the rules. There's a second, Ms. Colby. Discussion. Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Pop.
Further discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk. Crabtree.
Yes.
Resolution 2724 is duly adopted. Our last resolution for the evening, first reading, Resolution 2824. Ms. Coon?
A resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Jackson to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for the AMLR grant and declaring an emergency.
We get a motion to adopt Resolution 2824. Mr. Newkirk, is there a second? Mr. Crabtree, seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion, Mayor Evans.
We've talked about this AMLR grant a lot. Was it $2 million? If I remember right, around $2 million through the ODNR. It's targeted for reclaiming some abandoned mines over there in the Harding Avenue Park area, back in behind there. Also part of this, we hope to use for some flood mitigation in the same area, as well as park and trail development in that area. This is finally us just having reaching the point to where we can formally accept this grant of over $2 million.
Thank you, Mayor. Other discussion? Newkirk. Motion to suspend the rules. Is there a second? Ms. Colby, second. Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Pop.
Yes.
Discussion? Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Newkirk. Crabtree.
Yes.
Pop.
Yes.
Resolution 2824 is duly adopted. I wish to thank council for their work in the ordinance and resolutions portion of our meeting. Looking at our agenda, I don't believe there was any correspondence, Ms. Coon. So I'll open up to old business. Is there any old business to be brought before council? Hearing none, we'll move, is there any new business to be brought before council?
Question, I probably should have asked Mr. Swackhammer this earlier. How do we go about, or maybe Mr. Salter, how do we go about getting a motion to redo the motion that we made with regards to the big streets? Because there's no way we can fix them properly without spending all of the money that we're going to get for paving the roads next year. That would be spent on two streets with these prices here, and I'm sure they'll go up before that. So I don't know how to go about making that motion, but I'd like to see something made up to where we can re-vote on that, vote again.
Joe, what would be our course of action?
How did we do that last month? Was that,
Just a motion.
I was going to say it was just
There's a
a,
motion and a voice
Motion and
vote.
roll.
yeah, it wasn't part of an ordinance, it was for funding or anything
There's a
like that.
motion from the floor and a voice vote.
So if a number of, I think the local rules are if 3 members of council ask for a resolution or the administration to include paving those roads, that would be sufficient. Ultimately, on the other hand, it's an administration decision, unless you enact a formal ordinance, and I don't think we did here. But if you request one, we can draft that.
I'd like to see where we have the opportunity to say, let's pave them instead of paying these astronomical figures to fix the bricks.
Other discussion?
I'd like to have a comment on that. I don't see the problem with waiting. I think there are alternatives to not doing it and doing, if we pave it, it's done. You'll never save those streets. They're in the historic district. It might be worth considering doing something, I think like HD mentioned, not tearing them up and starting from scratch, but now if you look at Church Street, it looks kind of bad along the curb area because, of course, nobody was planning to save those. But I wonder if it's possible, when we're putting in new curbing, to be careful, take the bricks out and replace them, not do anything else to the street, but just keep the brick streets, at least in the historic area, which is going to look nice when, so that town is starting to look great. I mean, really. And did I hear some talk about crosswalks with brick?
I believe Mr. Sweathammer brought that up, the architect had shown in the,
That was in their rendering as an example where brick has been used at the crosswalks. And so, that rendering was a very preliminary for the purpose of going for the grant. Basically, we'll start over for at ground zero for that 3 blocks associated with that downtown revitalization program.
Anyway, that would look beautiful. I know if you drive into Grove City downtown, it's done that way, and it really is striking. So rather than jump into a decision, why not wait? Wait till next year. Maybe over the next year we can think about it, talk about it.
Mr. President, just to add on to what Jeff said, I personally would like to at least see us try to repair a section that needs repair and let us see what it looks like, Maybe we won't look at it and just have a reaction where we say, oh, well, that's not going to work. But I'd like to see us at least try that first and see what we think. That's my suggestion.
other discussion? Okay. It looks like we need to schedule a boarding zone of appeals meeting for two items. Mr. Swackhammer, is that correct?
Yes, at the time that the agenda was put together. Cindy, did you get the second one on there?
Yeah, everyone has an amended agenda.
Okay. So yeah, I've got two for the zoning board of appeals. 1 Oak Street is a 6-foot fence. This falls into the same category that we faced several times, to where there's no issue with the 6-foot fence there. It's actually next to a swimming pool, and they're actually replacing what is already there. The other one is the newest one, 46 Portsmouth Street. They wish to subdivide the partial. In the newly created partial, they do not have the 100-foot line, 75 feet to Bexington yet, but they do have the 3,500, which is the minimum square footage for the lot. The second part of that, this is the old beauty shop that's on the alley behind the library. And the library is interested in buying that partial, but they're wanting to use it for parking, storage, and maybe a small little park. This is a residential district, and they would have no residents on this partial. At best, all they would have would be accessory buildings. So those will be the two things to be considered on that one. So I have asked Cindy if she can coordinate prior to the next council meeting for those two items to come up and to notify the property owners accordingly in the neighborhoods.
What time do you want to have this meeting, Mr. Elliott?
How complicated is that one going to be?
The 6-foot fence one, we know that one is a 5-minute conversation. The other one, there could be some difference of opinions there because of how it's going to be used. And I'd like for the current property owner to be here because he's got a lot of input in, especially the first part, but also give the library an opportunity to be here to talk too. So I would, 20 minutes at minimum, I would think.
So 6 o'clock?
6:15, 6:30.
6:30 may put us up close. I'm just thinking 5 and 20 is 25, but maybe
Okay.
6:15. 6:15, okay?
You said that first one was on Oak Street?
Across the street from you.
Yeah, 1 Oak Street.
That's what, yeah, I was like, this is really funny.
Do you have any input into that? Yeah,
They just replaced it?
Oh,
yeah.
Does Ms. Kuhn have your mailing address so she can send you a letter on?
Except for the current fence and they're just replacing it, do they need a variance? They're replacing it the same height?
They are,
Just a question.
I mean,
I wouldn't think they would if it's already there. At the very least, it would probably be grandfathered, wouldn't it?
Repair,
Yeah.
repair.
If whatever scheduled to meet, it was just a question, sorry.
It's all right.
I mean, it's been one we've been at for, 4 or 5 meetings already, same situation. So hopefully our new zoning's going to take care of all that, right?
So the meeting is set in for the 24th, 6:15, here in Council Chambers. The next item I see under new business is a request for utility service outside the city, 15 Jesse Street.
That is
Mr. Sparkhammer.
correct. Yes, the property owner is requesting electric tap, water tap, and sewer tap. The only thing additional that will be needed there is a street cut. We will require a deposit on that in the regular meter taps.
Discussion. I have a motion to allow this request to access utilities for outside the city. Mr. Newkirk, is there a second? Mr. Elliott, seconds. Discussion. All those in favor?
How far outside the city? Do we know?
Well, you're at...
McKittrick.
McKittrick Heights.
In McKittrick.
We have utilities all the way around it.
Okay.
They said that, where the church is, right off there, just up from the church just a little ways. I think is where Jesse Street runs, 35 runs, or Chillicothe Pike runs this way, and I think Jesse runs right off of
Okay,
it.
got it.
Is it for a new build or something, David, or do you know?
It is for a new, there was a previous, so we had a lot of the infrastructure already there.
Other discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Any other further new business? We are in need of a motion for executive session. Mr. Elliott, would you like to make that motion?
I move that we go into executive session to conference with an attorney concerning disputes involving the public body as subject to pending or imminent court action.
Is there a second? Mr. Crabtree, seconds. Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
We will, one moment, please. I may need to specify Mr. Show.
Everybody just got
I
to
have to
stay.
leave. We will adjourn to executive session at 7:50. 7:55. We're back in session. We come out of executive session. The chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Elliott, is there a second? Mr. Newkirk, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We are adjourned.